Welcome back to the VCT Bachelor. Will we see BBG get the final rose, or is it XSET? We're about to find out in map 2 of Haven. A map selected by XSET, so I think they're going to be feeling a little bit comfortable with getting that final rose. But we think that BBG may have something in the tank to try to close this out and bring us to map 3.
Yeah, for sure. A bad first date for BBG, but second map we'll have to try to see. Is there going to be more from Will, from Rarkar, for example? A lot of rounds that come down to some of these entries just not quite hitting the mark, and definitely some misreads. I think that was working against Sentinels on a sense. This time against XSET, it's kind of the opposite way. XSET is hanging on to those control spots of A main, of B main, and also making the reads of their own. It felt like every time there was a big hit coming from XSET or from BBG, XSET was there to stop it.
Felt like in certain instances, though, there were certain rounds for BBG, they were playing okay, but I felt like there was a couple of mistakes that were really crucial. We saw that one poach TP. You know, how could he have anticipated an XSET player being already down cat? There was, I think, like a lockdown that critical got stuck in. Just kind of like these little small mistakes that they tend to add up over time. Like a 13-6, that's a dominant performance from XSET. You know, for BBG, they've really just got to mentally reset moving into this one. That's the biggest thing. Map 1, it doesn't matter anymore. It's a new map. It's a new opportunity. This is where you really got to prove that beating Sentinels wasn't just like a fluke. Like, yeah, we beat the Masters winner. We're here to play, and it starts with this next map.
Yeah, it definitely does. But to me, when I look at Haven, this is XSET's pick. This is, to me, the map that XSET has always been so strong on. Every single time I watch XSET, they're playing Haven, and they're playing it really, really nicely. They're very quick on their approaches. I'll have to see if things have changed since the good old days. But one thing to note is they still are running the Astra. Everything else is pretty much identical to what they used to run, which was weeded on Omen and such like that. So it'll be slightly different with the little league combos. We get to see Paint Shell potentially combos with Astra Gravity Wells and such. But for the most part, I think we'll see the standard XSET playbook coming out.
Yeah, that's what I'm most excited to see. One of the things that is always so interesting is how XSET are continuing to try to develop what strategies they bring to the forefront. You know, we haven't seen a lot of BBG. Haven't quite made it to Masters as XSET have, but XSET didn't really have the biggest opportunity to show us what they really were made of when it came to Masters. They were out quite quickly.
Yep.
So now here we have another opportunity against some good competition. What do XSET now have that I think might be new? And that newness comes from Astra. Which to me, quite interestingly, means that we might not see a lot more Viper come out of We Did, because they're probably leaning harder into the Astra over the Viper. But nevertheless, Viper's not something you're going to see on Haven anyways. But we'll see what they have kind of developed over the course of the past couple of weeks or so with this new agent.
Yeah, I think their Haven, to me, while it has been a strong suit, I feel like it has been kind of readable, especially on their attacks, and that's where they're going to start, where they end up kind of going for these 5-man hits. Slow 5-man hits too. It's like kind of just walk up and let's pop. And that has been in the past something that Sentinels, for example, is taking great advantage of. And they're like, just feel them out, see exactly, okay, is there somebody here? Just get one info peek, and then you kind of figure out the round. I hope that there's slightly more, kind of what we saw in a sense, but again, it was kind of one of these situations where we didn't get to see the full extent of their attack side on a sense. But I mean, from what I saw so far, it looks slightly different. It doesn't look like the same pace from XSET, and I think that's good for them.
If you're just joining us, this is the map selection. Did get to see Icebox banned away by XSET. BBG banned Bind away from the pool. A very similar map pool than what we saw in the first initial series that did end up going to split, with Cloud9 winning it all. Now, do we see that third map here? We'll find out with map 2 being Haven. Like you said, it is selected by XSET, which means BBG get that side selection, and they'll be starting on the defense first. Their attack is quite readable. Maybe we can expect BBG to start off hot off the presses, get a couple of issues out of their newsletter, and maybe finish in a positive half. A positive half to really set themselves up for the second.
Well, they'll need to make headlines for sure. It has to be Will, it has to be Rarkar showing up on this one. They're two duelists. And, you know, it could be. Poach was huge in their game against Sentinels on this map. potentially that's going to be a factor as well. They were very, very strong on both sides. Just felt like they had the reads on everything. Against XSET so far, it has been the opposite story. Every time they make a read, it's just quite not in the right direction. So, same comp that we saw for BBG and exactly what we expected from XSET. A slight switch for Aaron. Instead of playing Astra, it's Weeded who's playing the Astra, and instead of Weeded playing Phoenix, there you have it. BCJ back on Sova as well.
I mean, that's kind of what I highlighted. This guy's pool is insane.
Yeah.
Got a different agent for every map, but one of the key factors here for Aaron is I remember way back when he was playing Raze on Echo 8 in the early stages of Valorant. He is no stranger to the agent and how it pairs up and how it shapes up to kind of the inner workings of Haven. The interesting thing is you don't actually see a lot of Raze run on a map like Haven. People lean harder into Jets, people lean harder into Phoenixes due to how the Phoenix operates and the value you can get from a run it back, running down long straights and finding opening picks. The Raze is a very interesting pick for XSET, and you know, in that attacking process that you highlighted, it is probably the biggest piece of the puzzle.
I love it. I love it when it's paired with Astra, especially. Some of these retakes get really, really hard for defenses to run when you're playing up against an Astra and a Raze. The paint shell gravity well is such a threat that you have to almost wait it out, try to bait out the gravity well and then get away. But in some cases that ends up biting. You're right back. Here we go. Map number 2, XSET against BBG. XSET starting on the attack. BBG will defend, and they need to defend because they're on the ropes, down 1-0.
Starts with this initial pistol, and you kind of highlighted it. 5 players strong, XSET barreling down through the courtyard, but they will split up and push in towards B. The paint shell is going to push Rockhard back, and they're going to push up forward. We've seen a lot of this control towards Link, but the paranoia from Poach, trying to get a little bit more ground. Nothing will be found other than a couple of injured players on both sides. Rocker is actually down to 3. One tough swing, and it'll all be over, and that's exactly what we end up seeing. Pure with 2. Rarkar now, the injured player, trying to back away. He does find his mark onto Pure. But still, it's an absolute disaster, all down to the shoulders of Bjor, but he's got the sight line onto the spike. 2 members now starting to push forward. We'll get that spike picked back up, and now as he returns back, you'll see, oh, wait. Oh, it's gone. Oh, well, now I got to go figure out where it went. So now, hearing that audio cue, it's B. Doesn't have quite the utility as it's set up over towards C. They'll play towards the courtyard, but Thwyfo playing a little bit closer, a little bit of a tighter angle around the bend there. That is going to be a very challenging swing for Bjork because he has to check the right first, or at least the cubby. Oh no, he checks left! Ooh, now it's just down to Weeded. I mean, he's got this, but nice intelligence there from Bjork.
Hey, close. Thwyfo in the one and done position. Bjork checks him. Very close. I'm wondering why all these pistol rounds on Haven have been the same idea, right? That was very nice in my mind from XSET, but the way that they had to spend so much time fighting against the A-Link push, and then eventually they're like, yeah, well, it wasn't eventually. The idea the entire time was not to plant the spike, but to bring it through that A-Link and end up pushing all the way through. The 2 fights that they had, the initial one and then the one that delayed everything while the drone was coming through and they started getting the frags on A-Link, almost made it through. Could have costed them. They got the crossfire down. That's BBG's side from Spawn and also the A-Link and Heaven as well. So here it is again, XSET. 5 people except for Thwyfo as they drone up into C and they just take it. Pure and Aaron leading the charge. Smokes are down. Nothing on Spawn so they can take these advantageous gunfights. Thwyfo also spots, but everybody should know Thwyfo lurks, but they don't. They're not paying attention. Rarkar's there and they're going to try to pinch him, but oh, they get him. They get him. 2v4 though, so all for naught potentially.
I mean, if Aaron falls here, it's a possibility that they do some heavy damage. Definitely here's the audio cue on the reload. Oh, sees one drop through. One player still close right. Bjor, that's the angle. Paint shells. Now the swing. Still has a little bit more control and a solid round from XSET. This upcoming round is the biggest key. Why? Because the last time we unlocked round 3, XSET 1 and 2. It was a 3-0 start on Ascent. a 3-0 start. BBG could not convert onto that third round. So, for XSET, we see something like that repeat, or BBG a little bit more prepared this time. We see a lot of membership over towards that A site, and that is where XSET are at least to start cheating over.
They have to slow things down. Oh, is there? Okay, thought he was trapped in that one. Markar at the bottom is short. He has to get some sort of entry. Oh, good switch here with Will as well. But Markar falls and he doesn't get a second. Critical tries to join in, but Dwight up long with a frenzy. There it is. 3 versus 2 on the A retake. And then, again, the 5-man hits. What do they have to stop this sort of thing from XSET?
I mean, they had membership in sewers and they got the trades, but like it's the numbers game in that case, right? You get the advantage just by the pure numbers. So now, what do you do with Bjor and Poach? Here's the paranoia, and they act based on it accordingly. The quick trade, the showstopper for Bjor. Now just down to him. Playing crossfire setup. Now the pre-fire shot, but Wifo with 1 HP. It's different. Built different. And I think some of you think the same. 65% of you think that XSET are going to clean this map up. And I mean, the stats don't lie, but BBG still have a chance. Still have the opportunity. They're not down and out quite yet. You see this adaptation trying to get the read on the stacks. They need to do a little bit better than that.
Yeah. The idea was almost perfect for Will and Rarkar to walk back down sewers, but XSET's just too fast and too ready on the trade. It's going to be critical farming the orb, and he gets punished for it. It's only an eco, so it's fine. You want to just try to gamble for the orbs in situations like this. And he did get it, so he got the orb, or he got his ult up for the next round. Adrian just went for it. Satchel up from the Step Bro box. And waited to confirm the round. 4-0. Has to stop the bleeding. BBG does for sure. It was 10-2 the first half of the last map. 10-2. And the pace would have been good on that second half, but if you don't have a strong opener, it's going to be difficult.
Let's get a lay of the land here. Blade Storm, run it back. Neural Theft, Hunter's Fury. Got all the utility in the world. You're set up. You got to invest some of this to secure this round. How you do that is with Will right here. Run it back now. Starting to pop. Finds the pick onto 1. Can't convert onto the second, but the damage is done. You got what you've wanted.
I like how he runs away as Poach is still unspotted.
My eyes are
down mid as well. He gets the good shots, and now 5 versus 3. Bjor here, gonna get 2. 1 through the cage, and then the spray to follow up. Will quickly trade him anyways, but a good round from BBG, starting off with the Will run it back. Critical also with a Hunter's Fury to combine out the window, and there you have it. BBG on the board. And from really good play there by Poach, Will down mid. Especially like how he just runs his way out of the cubby and potentially baits a player into peeking, where Poach is ready and waiting to take that whack-a-mole straight to him.
That's unfortunate. Can't quite get the orb, can't quite get involved. The re-peek is quite dangerous. You could have players ready to pop out the cage at any moment. HLs are going to make things even worse, but that utility is starting to add up with how much you've invested to get the control of this A long side. And now Will is going to create a counter push on the opposite front. Does get quickly traded. That's worth it. 1 for 1. Next set have to reset.
Over towards C-Lone they go. They've got the Cosmic Divide. Keep an eye on the mini-map for that popping. The 4v4 it might be worth. Especially if they can get some time down off the backside of this dart. Also knives from Pure as well. Can be popped at a moment's notice. There's the Hunter's Fury backup for BCJ. Yeah, they get into sight. They're going to get the spike down. And then potentially the Cosmic Divide. But no, they're actually falling off to long. I would have expected if they wanted to use that, to put that down on Spawn and Garage.
Sure. Up close and personal, and it's about to get personal. Rarkar on the opposite side of this smoke, but Pure is laying in wait. Doesn't have the tailwind, but might get it soon if he finds another pick. He does! That's 2! Still, 2 remain for the defense. The defuse is starting to come through. Bjor is just trying to buy time. Finds 1, 2! Oh, goodness! But Aaron, he's flanking from the opposite side, and Critical takes care of him. What a round from BBG. But there's no time? Oh, no.
That hurts. That hurts. XSET bring it back. Definitely should have ended up losing. But the time is so strong on their side. Even with the smokes down, they're able to spend it through. That was Pure buying so much up close. Yeah, Bjor ended up having the highlights. But never did they get this half. Just the 1 peek from Aaron. If he got that half just a second later for Aaron on that push in Garage, the round would have gone their way. So he's the hero in that case, but Pure as well bought so much.
Rarkar has to push back. He's going to push back forward. He's going to be waiting for them on the opposite end. He's going to go right over towards the Sova, but misses him completely. Wifo with 1 will, just trying to get a little bit of value with that swing with the curveball, but unfortunately comes up empty-handed. It's XSET that grab a fistful of sight and take control of all of it. Down to 2 final players, poaching Critical. Pure using that tailwind to get the safety to try to avoid those shock darts. They will miss their mark regardless. Another save round here coming in for BBG. That puts XSET up by 5. Very clean round. Falls right into their lap. Quick execution. And that pop just hurts.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Rarkar there getting a little overzealous past the entire team. I think it was a really awkward situation already from the beginning. How the drone was coming in and he was trying to peek over the top of it, then the smoke coming in, and then pressure down long as well. He's like, I gotta get out of here. Knives popped. So not as clean as the previous one, but even that was a little... Obviously, they lost that one. So you're right. 5 rounds up for XSET. Everything seems to be working, no matter what it is. Walks down. See long, the A splits that have been going on. Everything. I mean, the pistol round as well, pushing into B.
This goes here.
The clutch situations that they lose but actually win. I mean, it's the same thing that we saw, I think, on round number 3, the first gun round. Just drone up and then take. Ult's gonna combine Bjor into his cage once again. That's the second time that's happened. BCJ doesn't find the kill either on him.
Well, he does eventually get traded, but was that a lineup? Weeded just finds 2? Were they lined up? That's possible. Weeded pops the Cosmic Divide, gives himself some time, but Will's not going to have any of it. He pushes forward close, but BCJ has the angle. Now Rarkar has something to say about a poach, pushes through the smoke, pushes through the wall. And now just down to BCJ, has the smoke. Cover him for now. Shock dart, so well timed. And that's the 3K on the round. A couple of love taps to boot. And XSET up by 6. This is starting to really slip away from BBG.
Yeah, I mean, at the pace that we're going, we might see another 10-2, like, for sure. And it's not even a 10-2 that they get to switch to. That they might be a little bit more proficient to. This is XSET going back to defense, and we know how Wifo, how strong he is in Garage with his one-way cages, how strong the Cypher players on A have been. This is rough. This is definitely rough. I actually was thinking that Cosmic Divide was gonna force a couple players to push through like they did. He basically gave him a lot of space, but it doesn't matter when you have BCJ making plays like that. I really like that shock dart combo as the smoke's about to fade, right as he's about to tap too. Very nicely done.
And indeed. Tough around here for BBG around the bend. Once again, they're just trying to hold on to the control that they have been trying to fight for on this A site quite consistently. It's the C site that usually you roll the dice. They'll play passive, they'll play setup. The economy's just not quite there, so they're taking their bets. They're betting on A. Fortunately for them, it's the XSET drone up. Get the sight lines, get the visual, get the control, and you're good to go. So now it's up to BBG to 5v5 retake. Unfortunately, BCJ does get tagged. Aaron's going to play contact. This is going to be a problem as they start to run through. Now they have to refocus, re-strategize, but the paranoia's angled incorrectly. Shots will continue to go through. Aaron runs out of steam, runs out of ammo. And now down to the 3v4. Injured members here still for XSET. They're all playing down the long side. No smokes available. Well, there are actually. Rarkar's got 3. No cages though for Bjor.
It's going to come down to time again.
Shots now from range. There's going to be the concuss. Still the diffuse is in. Rarkar! Oh, it's so close! But they take down the spike diffuser. Oh my goodness.
That was so scary. I thought for sure he was going to get that diffuser stuck around the corner. Found the gap, the opportunity for them to actually hide from that long plant. Thank goodness Pierre is there in time, because that was seconds, milliseconds away from going the other way. Same situation though, just like the other round, where it's just 1 second will buy BBG the round. It's just not enough against XSET right now. The trades were super good down C long. Again. But it needs to be more. It needs to be more. They need to find some sort of man advantage because that's the only time they've really had this round. It was the rounds with Poach and Will down mid, if you recall. Nothing else like that has really happened since. They've been kind of trapped in their own side of the map.
Cage trigger.
Finally, Rarkar with the op down A long as well. This might actually work out. There's a lot of pressure down towards him, and Poach might get a flank. There's the kill, but the misdash. Oh no, Poach is back in time though.
And he's a little bit late to the party though, as the paranoia will be able to support as well. Runs out of ammo, starts the chase, but Weeded is there on the flank around the box still. Spike needs to be planted, and they're consistently being contested. Will now going to think about dropping down, but because BCJ takes care of him, that allows Weeded to plant the spike safely. He might decide what, where, and how. Oh, he was just trolling Bjorn, jumping up and down, trying to get the early peek. Now he might drop down right by ammo. Shot's good though from BCJ as you sees him drop down 9-1. As BBG have yet to find an answer. I smell it. I smell a tactical. Smell that?
Yep.
Coming. Coming. They need some help. They need a pause. They need a breather from this domination.
There's only 2 rounds left in that half. Like, even using a tactical at this point, it's maximum they get out of it. 2 rounds.
This is a nice spot. Now,
Definitely might be worth, though, to try to stop that scoreline that we had on a set. No tac used on this first half. He's going to dart deep out of grass. He might push with this. No. Once again, nothing. Wifo's got the cam out there as well. It does get broken by Poach, but 4 people down C long. How many times have we seen this? Bjor, different story, though. He's got the judge. Never mind. Same story as always. 3 players down on the take. Dwifo with the last there as well. Poach last player remaining, and it's gonna be him against Dwifo. He gets it, yes. Maybe a phantom pick. Nope, it's a Bucky.
Think about the odds of that. You're just trying to get something to bring your team back, and you find a Bucky. And that is just tough going for Poach. Tries to find a little bit more sauce. Unfortunately, the canister is empty. 10-1, last round of the half. Potential for an 11-1. Let's see what we got cooking here for BBG. Hunter's Fury available, but XSET have everything. This is going to be a disaster. Showstopper, Cosmic Divide, Blades, they're going to throw everything at BBG. On the opposite side, Rarkar is one away from the Blade Storm, can be a factor since he has a Bucky. He might really be looking for orb control, but he's nowhere near it. He's not even poised and ready at the barrier. There's Haunter's Fury available though, Neural Theft, and that's exactly what you see pop over towards really anywhere, trying to find a tag, trying to find something, and Critical does not come up.
Okay. Never mind. Okay, never mind again. Counter ult from BCJ gets a tag, but not the finish onto Critical, but a pick down C forces them to start to rotate, but instantly they're like, hold on, there's nobody else here. Cosmic Divide down. Rarkar might dive forward and dash out. There's a possibility to stop the plant. They don't actually know it's going down, which is the interesting part.
Oh, he's going. He's going. He's hungry. He finds the frag. Now the blades, of course, for Pure are still available. Rarkar hasn't popped them quite yet. Bjor will help out. Down to BCJ. Does not have that Hunter's Fury no longer. Has the Recon Bolt and a couple of shock darts, but he's waiting for the swing. Rarkar does get tagged. The defuse is going through. He needs to stop it. Shot's good. One more second, and it's defused. Critical salvages the round. 10-2. BBG have bought themselves a little time.
Finally, that time is on their side, man. Finally, they come through with the defuse. In the last round of the half, another 10-2 though, and like we saw on Ascent, XSET will convert. Might take a couple of rounds, but they will. So many of these came down to last seconds. This round from Bjor, for example, Aaron catching Critical off the spike at the most important moment. Bjor was not going to be able to get there in time to help him against Aaron either, so he had to make that gamble. There's not even a trust thing there at all. Maybe if it was a Jet. Cypher, no. 10-2 on the half. XSET switches over to defense, and right away they've got this presence in mid, unlike what we've seen so far. They might walk down through the smoke as well. Poach spots it, so he knows that they're playing aggressive on mid. They don't want to test this now, even though the smoke is down.
We'll still have two players on the window, and this is like one of the scariest things to swing peek on because you have no idea what could still be there. Now Poach is able to find a little bit more intel, say, okay, they've left the B site completely, or at least what we've seen from the early start of the round. Now a lot of those players have rotated into sewers. Those two players that were heavy on the B site,
Right here.
we did, and Pure, now repositioned, and fortunately for them, the read is quite on the wronger side. So we have Aaron and BCJ ready for this push onto C, but they are quite unaware. Now Aaron spots things out, sees at least a couple of players. Paint shells make things a little bit easier, but doesn't anticipate BCJ on plat. That kill comes easy. Now the Recon Bolt out and open. Still, shock darts are going to hurt. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Still alive, though. Twifo with one. Gura from the backside will still pinch in one of those players, and it's a flawless. It kind of slipped away from me. I could see you just kind of like, what happened in that round? But BBG just got picked apart.
Yeah, I mean, Bjor almost had the flank opportunity, but he got outflanked by the defense. Bjor coming in at the perfect time, right before it was about to do work onto, what was it, BCJ on the back of site there? Aaron's nade to delay. Good pistol from XSET. I love the face that they had on B to show, hey, there is no chance you're going to do the typical let's rush B, let's get up into A-Link ideas on pistol.
Cage triggered.
Same cage that XSET was throwing on their attack to get a lot of space over towards A long. I love when Twifo and Aaron do it. He misses the jump across, but the boost up with the satchel from Aaron to get Twifo in an unconventional position. And when you think it's the Cypher player playing here and all of a sudden he's on top of the box, that's something that XSET has coined for sure.
No more charges left.
Things have slowed down a little bit. Gura gets into an engagement with Twifo. Doesn't do enough damage to quite take him down. 82 HP is what remains. We did with the jump peak spots. Rarkar. Recon Bolt. Okay, who else is here? Is there a player behind Gong? Nope. Okay, I'm going in. Hitting the go button. Rarkar finds one. Weeded is now down for the count. And now the smoke off to not allow any follow through from XSET. So this will be a safe Spike plant. Unless BCG pinches in. BCJ pinches in from the opposite side. Does fall. And now things are a little bit more doable. They're trying to fight for that smoke, but they'll push through. Thwifo with one poach, all down to you. 9 HP, not going to be possible. And now it's XSET match point 12-2.
Yeah, you're going off just like this game is. Modulate ourselves down towards the end.
Rails, there are none.
Because
There's
yeah,
no rails.
It's off at this point. And they also invested some sheriffs into that too. So this buy, is there really one? Spectres, an Ares on poach, a sheriff on critical. Yeah, I mean, they went for the Hail Mary to get themselves off a match point because that's where they were in the last game. They don't want to be there. And well, we're here again anyways. Nade through on the cage. Bjor crosses. Pure is all the way deep already. Bjor gets one though. That might be difficult, but Aaron and Pure are up A long. How difficult. They already know there's one deep behind them. They're going to get the flank there while Aaron holds on to the A lobby control. There it is.
Still a 3v3. XSET are definitely pushing their limits. Definitely pushing their limits. C-side is where they're going to end up going. Thwifo can hold on to this. Does end up falling. This could be around BBG are able to put together. Pure and BCJ are quite far. Now slowly started to collaborate together, come together. A little bit slower. Waiting on the opposite side as Rakar finds the frag onto Pure, down to just BCJ. And they're all waiting on the opposite side. Wait, that shock dart was kind of crazy, though. It was kind of a little crazy.
I thought he was about to do it to him. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I thought he was about to do it to him.
I felt it. With that shock dart, I was like, oh my god, he's like off the backboard, alley-oop, self-dunk. He's in the business.
There we go. Okay, the light buy, it works. BBG, okay. Still some breathing. I thought for sure after that A lobby push, but Fear is not able to trade the last kill to make it a man advantage on that A lobby control after they lost. Who was it? Who was it that was deep? It was We Did down sewers by himself. Meanwhile, Pure and Aaron were down A long. Oh, that nade. I think there's a little bit to Will. Deep camera out from Thwifo. It is Bucky's and a light buy for XSET.
Okay. That was a little spicy, that's for sure.
That's a long-range Bucky, man. That is a long-range Bucky one-shot. Well, I guess it wasn't, because the original tags from that nade onto Will, so it wasn't a full one-shot. Still playing deep inside of this garage. They've got the setup and also Pure close. Oh no, the dash through. Pure is going to try to chase. He's by himself though. There's a teleport in the back of C-Link. Rarkai's on the flank on the garage angle.
Oh my
Pure still gets
God.
2 though. Are you kidding me? And Pure will fall as well. XSET with a absolutely clinical 2-0 over BBG.
I'm maulding. That was like the biggest mauled of all time. Holy moly. What a how do you finish on a round like that? That is how you seal the deal. What a crazy disaster. If I'm BBG, you got a lot. There's a lot to work on. There's a lot to consider. XSET, they've been hungry. The way that they went out of Masters, I think they're coming back with something to prove. You know, definitely after Masters, you're kind of questioning where does XSET fit amongst the rest? Where do they kind of sit? We saw phenomenal performance from a lot of teams when you expected XSET to kind of come in as the upset machine, right? Mm-hmm. This might be the time now. This might be the moment because that performance against BBG, that's a statement. That's here to say we are confident, we are here to play, and we are going to dominate.
Yeah, first ascent. I mean, they had 2 10-2 halves to start off this series. I mean, to start off both maps. Like, absolutely ridiculous. Very difficult for BBG to mentally deal with. I mean, you reset a little bit after map number 1, but after the same thing happens, it's almost impossible to reset after that. Almost impossible. So, yeah, definitely a little bit to work on. I mean, BBG is a new team. You have to remember that they are a new team. XSET has been the same lineup since the addition of BCJ all the way back at the Winter Championship back in January. So it's been 4 months essentially where they've been playing with the same roster. Meanwhile, BBG literally just made an IGL change. So you can't necessarily take everything away from them. They're still growing, and they definitely will. I mean, it sounds like it's not the end for them in challengers. Like, let's be clear again. They get to go into the lower bracket. Potentially there's a run possible there. In either case, this was a strong XSET, Simo.
Yeah.
This was a very strong XSET. They were on point. Yes, they still had that kind of stereotype that I put on them at the beginning of Haven, where I'm like, yeah, they kind of just go five push on the one site, and they did it, and it works. And the change with Astra didn't really change much for sure, but you know, I think this is good for XSET. Still not necessarily proving to me that they're gonna come over their demons, you know.
If anything, the Astra, at least in the respect of Haven, just kind of makes it a little bit easier to do exactly what they need to do. You get that cosmic divide, man. They ain't hearing nothing. You just walk on. You walk on as 5, no problem. I mean, it was usually just on the A side. I think they were.
I think we saw 2 total. We saw one,
3.
which was that post plant with we did on default, where he kind of like boxed himself out of the back of sight, and then there was the A. I don't even remember. It was I think it was an A retake. Either way, I didn't think that was even that much of an impact. I thought Astra in general was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just meaning that they can utilize it a little bit easier and set up plays in whatever respect they want to. So, player head-to-head, by the end of the series, we kind of identified that the Jets were definitely a big factor. Rarkar, a new addition to BBG, has had some shimmering moments. He did play quite well, but Pure, he's just always there. He's always been there, and he will continue to be there. A phenomenal performance from him alongside the rest of the team. Rarkar, though, you know, despite being relatively new to kind of the team and kind of entering into that upper echelon of competitive play, still put on a pretty decent performance and only can improve up from here. Especially if somehow, in some capacity, Rob Boyce is still in the lineup. You could tell there's probably some coaching going on, you know, some additional resources, some additional help. If the kid's young, he's gonna need some guidance, and glad that they got a team there.
Hano. They've got Hano. They're definitely on the up and up. We'll see. I mean, that wasn't necessarily like any specific player that was on that. I mean, looking at the overall stats, they were all very close to each other. It was just kind of these reads that they were making against Sentinels that was working, or just not against XSET. And I think they'll be able to, once they expand their playbook a little bit, which they will, even potentially to tomorrow, even potentially towards the next opens and whatnot, although they're not going to be in an opens again. Definitely interesting for sure.
Yeah, we'll see kind of how they kind of stay put, how they re-engineer some of the things that they've been working on. But XSET, they get to continue on, and they will face off the winner of, we don't know yet, Envy versus version 1. That's going to a map 3. I think that's in the map 3 currently. We'll be moving on to the losers bracket run after this. Speaking of which, thank you for that little whoop, boom. Envy does move on. We get an XSET versus Envy match, which is, man, that is going to be a crazy best of 3, like absolutely bonkers. But in the losers bracket, Immortals and Box version 1 BBG.
Yeah, before I want to talk about the loser bracket games, but this XSET Envy match is a rematch from so many times. I mean, I don't know how many times they've been played in challengers and elimination matches and qualification matches. They've been there against each other, and I think it's 2-1 for XSET if I'm not mistaken, but I have to check my facts on that. I think maybe just 1-1. Definitely the first time it was XSET who knocked Envy down, but I think Envy clapped back in the second challengers, obviously, because they went on to win. But yeah, down in the lower bracket, Immortals versus Andbox. Interesting game. Did not truly expect Immortals to be down there. And then version 1 BBG, that's going to be a clash of styles, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And you see version 1 kind of slowly uprising, you know, kind of the pieces that were put together. You got players like Player 1 who used to be on a team like Gen G and FEs and such, and slowly making their resurgence back into the competitive play. And, you know, version 1 made it over a lot of great teams, and that means that they need to continue to fight for their place to be here. But taking Envy to a close series, that's a statement piece. That's an important thing to note. You know, in a bubble, that means that version 1 are definitely a team that you can't just push over and mess with. So that's going to be an interesting series. Before we kind of close things up and move on to that next series, do you have any closing thoughts, Paula?
No, I'm just very excited for the next games. Definitely tune into those. You guys should too, because it's elimination time. It is elimination time. That means one team is moving on to Challengers 2 already. And other than that, one story continues over Torch Challenger Finals. That's what we're all talking about. We started the day talking about Iceland. It's on the horizon, guys. It is so close, and this is what it's for. So,
well, we've got 2 new detectives joining the cause. We've got the very breach Bach and the very handsome Van Silly moving on into the casting chairs. We'll take a back seat, and we'll be back to join you later this weekend. But with that, we'll throw things to a quick break so teams and casters and production can get prepared. And we'll be right back after this.